Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your co-host, Puma Gato, the cat that hands you your career back. And to my left over here is the main man, Jesus De Niro, the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly Antias, rather than spicier content than your girls' OnlyFans.
What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and with that, let's get right into it. So, we are fresh off of the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fight, wherein Ryan Garcia put a beat down that a lot of people, us included, didn't expect was going to happen. Now, with that being said, one thing that I don't like, and I've never liked from the boxing fans, that as soon as they get a singular loss on their record, everyone starts saying, oh, you're a bum, oh, you need to quit, stop boxing, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you guys all need to get your mind out of the gutter. Get out of that whole Mayweather era shit. All that was bullshit. It was never real boxing. Get out of that stupidity. It's all stupid shit, and I'm hoping a lot of you boxing fans can really agree with us on this one. Listen, one loss, a single loss, does not mean the man should quit. Any boxer, forget Devin Haney, any boxer that has a singular loss on the record does not automatically mean you should quit. Did you guys tell Ryan Garcia, hey, you took a loss against Tank, you should quit? Because imagine if he had, we wouldn't have got that spectacular fight that we got this past weekend. Listen, I am personally tired of seeing this narrative where a single loss all of a sudden ruins you. How many UFC fighters have God knows how many losses, but they're some of the biggest fighters in UFC. I'll give you one of my fan favorites that we even talked about when the fight was going on, and we even commented on the fight itself. One of my favorite fighters over there in UFC is Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira was a late bloomer when it came to his UFC career. The man has like 11 losses on his record, but he became a champion later on, and he was a phenomenal champion. He has the most submissions in the UFC, the most submission wins in the UFC. This whole thing in boxing, for some reason, where everyone feels that after one singular loss they have to retire, is insane, and we need to stop that. Stop making all these fighters that are phenomenal fighters, the Ryan Garcias, the Devin Haneys, so on and so forth, feel like they lost one fight, so they now have to leave. It's bullshit. I personally don't agree with it. I've never liked it. I've never liked it from any boxing fan that I've heard say it. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't matter whether I'm for or against the boxers that they're throwing it against. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. What do you think about that, my man?
Look, it's one of those things that boxers and fans both complain about at the same time, but both of them reinforce the idea that keeping the O is important. Let's think about it for a second. For what it's worth, Mayweather did something smart, was that he marketed that very O itself. However, it also created a very negative meta in the boxing game, in which the fighters cared about their O, which led to the fans caring about the O, which led to the boxer caring about the O, and the boxing fans caring about the O. It's just a recursive loop of that O and O being more important. But at the end of the day, it's a statistic. Let's look at all the fighters that lost their O early on in their fight. You think they gave a shit? Manny Pacquiao lost his O in his 13th fight. Roy Jones Jr. lost his in the very first. Still went on phenomenal wars. I consider him the pound for pound best boxer ever. Oh, who was it? Mike Tyson. No, not just that. There was one other fighter. I had him in my notes. Give me 1 second.
I mean, there's so many good boxers, bro, that you could bring up that have lost their O.
Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins lost his O on his first match. Are you going to tell me that B-Hop wasn't a monster just because, he's not undefeated? No. This man went on absolute wars, especially with, Oscar De La Hoya. All of that. Roy Jones Jr. going on to wars with Antonio Tarver, and Antonio Tarver also going on to wars himself, even though, again, he lost probably his 20th. And Antonio Tarver, that's an important one that I have to highlight a little bit later, because I'm not going to lie, he's an important figure for the point that I'm trying to make. But yes, just because you lost an O, especially early on in your fight, or even as late in your fight, it doesn't matter. It's a statistic. The important thing is can you lose, or can you learn something from that loss? The O is only as important as you make it. And it depends on which alley is it of importance to you. Is it proof that you're not that great of a fighter? You personally thinking? Or Is it just that something in your fight game needs some ironing out? That is the importance of the O. Not that you're a monster or that you're the best fighter. No. It's about, can you iron out your game plan to where you don't have to have another loss or even mitigate your losses as much as possible?
Listen, man, one of the things that I don't like, and I think we could all agree on, is for a while there, all the boxers, every single boxer was facing not the top tier competition because nobody wanted to lose their O. They cared more about not losing their O. So what did? They started on taking the lesser competition just to protect that O, just to make sure that they didn't lose that. Like, I'll give you guys a really good example. I was never super high on him. I think he's a great boxer, but I was never super high on Bubu Andre. He was undefeated until he fought David Benavidez. But the second he fought someone that's considered, top of the class, top tier, he took a L. That doesn't mean he's not a great boxer. He is. But that's proof that, a lot more of these great boxers would be kind of weeded out if they were to fight each other and fight the top tier competition. So listen, this whole narrative that Mayweather started, I'll be honest with you, I think it's more detrimental to the game than it is helpful to the game. Listen, Mayweather was great at a lot of things, and the thing that I think he was the best at was marketing himself. He marketed himself phenomenally, which is fine. But again, so many great boxers have taken an L and came back and done phenomenally. My man just listed a bunch of them. So no, listen, we need to stop this freaking narrative that losing your O makes you terrible, and losing your O, you're a bum and you need to quit. But who did Devin Haney lose to? Arguably one of the top competitors in his weight division. So listen, stop all this cap and stop all this BS. Let these people get in there. And here's the thing. If you got to think, if these fighters are scared that, everyone in the boxing world is going to come down on me the second I get a singular L, so I probably should not fight someone that endangers that L. Stop that. You're making it worse by telling these people, hey, the second you lose one fight, leave. We don't want you in the game no more. Nah, stop it. You guys need to. Here's the thing. Most of the time, the level of excitement I get from a boxing match is a little bit higher than I get from most of the UFC fights. With that being said, in this particular category, the UFC fans are way better because they treat a lot of these fighters that have done a lot better in their career, have taken a lot more losses in their career, but they treat them better just because they go out there and they fight against a top tier competition. Let's stop all this BS. One loss does not make you terrible by any means. What else did you want to add to that, my man?
Right. I wanted to bring up Antonio Tarver because he was an important thing in this discussion when I was doing this research last night. I'm going to take you guys back. Let's go back. Let's go back 2006. What's playing at the movies right now? Rocky Balboa. Why is this important? Well, because Antonio Tarver actually was playing Mason, the Line Dixon, the antagonist of that movie. Now, why was this important? It's because what is the most famous line in Rocky Balboa or Rocky 6? It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep on moving. And for context, Antonio Tarver was, by all accounts, as far as fighters go, over the hill when it came to how much longevity a fighter's had. Granted, he would have retired 3 or 4 years after the fact, but still, the fact that everybody was telling this man to quit and that he didn't because he personally said to himself, I still have some fight in me, shows the importance of A, not taking too much stock into your loss, and B, as long as you still have some fight in you and you still have the wherewithal to iron out your fight plan, as long as you can get that W back, that is all that's important at the end of the day. And I think, let's be honest with ourselves. All of these fighters, all the boxers, all the UFC fighters, at the end of the day, whether or not their L is televised, look, at the end of the day, they're doing something out there that's pretty damn scary, and they're doing it on a grand stage. Of course, their embarrassment is going to be magnified by 10, 20, 30, 100. But at the same time, how would you personally feel if your L was magnified? Feel like shit, right? So listen, just because this man suffered an L and suffered it on a grand stage, and I'm not going to lie, it was a bit embarrassing. If I was in his shoes, I would be embarrassed too. But at the end of the day, it's not a be-all, end-all decision. Devin Haney, again, he said he was going to take a hiatus. He said it was relating to finishing up the Ramadan and spending time with friends and family and all that. But he recently came out on his Instagram and said, the get back is coming. And to be honest, that's the kind of thing that I like to see. Devin Haney is saying, okay, you got me. I will 100% agree with you on that. You got me fair and square. I'm not calling any bullshit, but I will say I am coming back. And to be honest, that is the kind of message that I like to see from fighters. Not any excuses of, oh, I was way too heavy, I sweated too much, there was no rehydration clause. Just look, that's in the past. We're moving forward. I'm getting my get back. And that's exactly what Devin Haney is saying. And that's exactly what any fighter should be saying, whether or not they lose their O. Their confidence may be shaken. Maybe I'm not that fighter anymore. Maybe I'm not that monster that I thought I was. But at the end of the day, losing your O can be a make it or break it. It's either proof that I never was that fighter, or it's proof that I still am. I just need to iron some things out. And I think that is an important message at the end of the day for all of this.
Listen, man, again, all those boxing fans, all the people that make this argument need to stop the cap. Let's get back to the reality and judge boxing based on the performance. This wasn't a great performance for Devin. Okay, it is. Move on to the next one. Stop treating these fighters like shit just because they take a singular L. And let's move on to really judging these fights based on what we should. And the greatness of the box, the greatness of the fight. And let's get it. Because let me ask you guys this question. You guys wouldn't want to see another great fight like that, even if one of the fighters took their first L? Of course you would. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit. And
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.